Hey everybody, this is Dark Side Elite here, and I wanted to do a quick video because I heard some news, some revelating news about the DC camp, what's going on in the DC Comics. I'm not gonna show any pictures or anything this time around. It's gonna be pretty quick. I heard about Tim Drake's new code name, and I want to talk a little bit about that. Um, well, let's see. Basically, what this is the reason why I think that Brian Michael Bendis is good and slash bad. One, he's good because he actually can build a great universe, and as long as he's confined to that universe and doesn't have it, peer over into other stories, he could do a really good job. Where he's bad at is he doesn't look at the already presented storylines beforehand and actually adapt and translate that level of story into something a little bit more new, and it's actually a continuation. Now, if any of you know what I'm talking about, the last time we caught up with Tim Drake, he left Batman. He left Batman and he told Bruce that he wanted to find his own way, and it saddened Bruce, but it actually boldened Bruce because Bruce knew that it was time for Tim to go on and forge his own destiny. He's been he's been Bruce's Robin for a very long time until Damian showed up, and he's been a very faithful Robin. He's he he's had his ups and downs between with Damian, but he's always been there, and that's why I think that the way they wrote the relationship between him and Bruce has been a very, very, very strong one. Um, in a way, Bruce sees Tim as how he saw Richard when he first became Robin, and that's how I felt their relationship has always been. It's basically Bruce trying again and being a better person for Tim that he felt that he might not have could have been for Richard, and the falling out for a little while between the two of them. Now, from what we were picked up, basically Tim Drake went into Earth 3 with the rest of the Young Justice, and he met his doppelganger from that universe, and that version of himself said that his name he said they battled, and his evil version basically beat the crap out of him and told him that he's a soul. What is your name? Are you Robin? He goes, you should have given that up a long time ago. You keep holding on to something that doesn't exist. And Tim knows, he understands he's not Robin, and he's not Red Robin anymore because if you know your history about it, and I want to alliterate further that he took the moniker Red Robin because Jason Todd from another universe had that moniker when Bruce died instead of him during the death in the family story arc of his universe, and Nightwing died also. Now, um, that has been completely dismissed because of what happened with Flashpoint. The main reason why he took the moniker Red Robin in the Flashpoint universe, I'm sorry, not the Flashpoint, but in Rebirth base in the New 52 is mainly because he still wanted to be Robin, but he didn't want to be Batman's Robin. He wanted to be his own Robin, but he felt that he was still Robin for Batman, and he didn't want to give up that name. So he created the name Red Robin instead. But now, for some odd reason, he wants to not be recognized as Robin anymore. He wants to be his own person. Now, this is one of those things where I feel that it could be good and it could be bad that that this is where he's starting off at, and we need a little bit more with Tim to find out what changed in his mindset to want to not be considered Robin anymore. Could it be about Stephanie or anything like that? Now, he met his doppelganger. His doppelganger wanted to know what the heck is going on, and why is he still calling himself Robin. He says, "Oh, what is your name?" He says, "I call myself Drake," and he says that it's a he it, it's another bird, but it's a stronger, bigger bird than a robin. And that's why he always saw himself. He saw himself bigger than the name Robin. Robin's a small little thing. He sees himself as a bigger name. So he took the name Drake. Well, when they defeated his doppelganger named Drake, Tim Tim decides to take the name for himself, but he decides to take it in a new way. So we're gonna get his new code name is gonna be called Drake, which is his last name. And my initial feelings, and this is my initial feelings, I think that I have to understand more. I have to read more into this. Again, I'm not saying that Brian Michael Bendis did a really screwed up thing. What I'm saying is that he can build a great universe as long as he stays within the confines of just that universe. When he starts building into other universes, and that's when he goes on tangents, and that he can ruin the whole thing. But if he stays within Young Justice and keep it to just Young Justice, it could be really, really good. Um, um, with this, I can see it could be good, but it can also become very problematic. And and because Tim Drake is my favorite Robin, he's my favorite out of all the Robins. I feel that he needs to build Tim a certain way. He can't build Tim confused and not and almost in the same vein how Richard was, because Richard was very confused himself, because when he left Bruce to pursue his own moniker, he still called himself Robin. So it seems like what they're doing with Tim Drake is almost the same thing that they did with Richard Grayson, and I feel that a lot of people are gonna slowly see that, and they're not gonna like the storyline that Brian Michael Bendis is trying to do, and that's where I feel that they need to make sure that Brian stays on target. He needs to build up Tim a different way. Tim is not Richard. In my I said this before and I say this again. If you really want to build Tim Drake into somebody that's very, very good, Richard Grayson is billed to be a showman. He has to be the center of attention. And I don't mean in a bad way, but I mean in a good way, because he's a showman. He wants everyone to look at him. He wants to be the limelight. And in some ways, he keeps the focus on him while everyone else takes the center stage. So Tim Drake is different from that. In in Parison, Tim Drake is like Bruce. He's he's he has people relying on him because he is the strategic leader. He is the tactical leader. He's brilliant. He has all the skills necessary to become Batman. He just doesn't have the fundamental thing that makes Batman Batman: pain and loss and determination. He doesn't have all that. And I'm not saying he doesn't have determination. He just doesn't have it in the same realm as Bruce. That's what makes him different than Bruce. So if you really want to build Tim very strong, you needed to build him up as almost like a world's greatest detective type of character. You're giving him mysteries. You're giving him mysteries. You're giving him a lot of stuff that has his brain always constantly working and trying to figure out the bigger puzzle. But if you keep writing him in the same vein as how you done Richard Grayson, you're gonna lose certain aspects of his character to a lot of people, because some of the greatest things that everyone likes about Tim is he's like Bruce. He's solemn. He is to himself. He's all about the bigger picture, and he's very strategic. He's very tactical. He thinks 15 steps ahead of everybody. So he plays chess while everyone he's playing Go while everyone's still playing checkers. That's how Tim is, and that's how Bruce realizes this kid can become the greatest out of all of his Robins, and that's why he's kept him around for so long, and he never really kicked him to the side, because he's like, no, go do something else. No, he's always kept Tim around. He's always let Tim do what he felt was the right thing he needed to do with his own life and his own careers. That's why he's upset that he lost Tim, but he's not angry. He's not bitter. He just gonna miss, quite possibly, one of the greatest Robins he's ever had. And that's why I felt that they should have done with Tim. I think that they should have wrote him that he's lost, he's confused. Write something that happened with between him and Stephanie. She's getting upset because she's getting upset because she's living this great life, but now Tim is still it's like he's harboring something. He's like he's lost and confused, and she's like, what the heck is going on? Like, why aren't you happy? And it's more in the fact of he's happier when he was Robin. He was happier when he was not Batman's sidekick, but he was a hero. He was a superhero. And it's not to the same vein as Dick Grayson, like he has to be the center of attention. No, it's he likes helping people. And Stephanie wants out. She wants nothing to do with the superhero lifestyle. She feels that it can get us killed. We're young, we have our lives ahead of us, and she doesn't want to live that life anymore. Well, that's where you build great conflict. You build great conflict, great drama, you build great stories, and you keep it very close to the center about how you want to tell these stories. And I feel that writing Tim out for the time being, and then I would say pick him up like in San Francisco or Chicago or Illinois. I mean, someplace that's small and private, and then you build his character up from the ground floor again. And now he has to figure out, does he really want to be with Stephanie, or does he want to be with anybody? Because remember, because everyone doesn't realize that Tim had a relationship with Cassie at one point. Tim had a relationship with Lynx. He had a relationship with Cassie. He had a relationship with like two other women in the world. So again, he's not someone that he can't get a relationship with, but it's more in the fact of he's thinking like a man, and he's thinking like a superhero. Can he have his cake and eat it too? Or does the lifestyle that he lives to want to be a hero, is it going to mirror the same as Bruce? Is he still under the same guise as Bruce, and is Bruce even happy? And that's where you really write in how he feels about this whole situation. You pick him up when he finds out about Selina and Bruce's marriage. He finds out about all this other stuff, and he finds out that Bruce and Selina are not together anymore, and all this and all that. And you write in all these great stories, and you build him up to say, to ask one question is he Bruce, is he Timothy Jackson Drake, or is he Timothy Jackson Drake Wayne? Is he a Wayne? And if he is a Wayne, should he be back in Gotham? Should he live up to the standard that Bruce and his family has set into that city? Because he is a Wayne. He is a Wayne by law, because Bruce adopted him. So again, these are great ideas. These are great stories. But having him go into a Young Justice and have that team, and then become I don't know if he's the leader of that team, but having him anywhere in a team aspect right now, to me, it feels like they don't know what to do with him. I just gave three different storylines that can converge into one easily, right there, that you could do with Tim, and you still could have given him his own solo series, Tim Drake or Red Robin, or the Shadow of Batman. Whatever you could do. You could say Tim Drake, Shadow of the Bat, and you could write all these stories talking about how is Tim going to get himself out of the shadow of Batman and make his own name. And how did Richard have to do it? Does he have to hate Bruce to finally let it all go, or what? Those are the questions that Tim should have been asking. And then when you finally build Tim up to right where he needs to be, that could take a year or two of good solid comics and good arcs, and then out of nowhere you introduce Young Justice coming in and picking him up saying, hey, we need your help. And he's like, what? And then he's trying to figure out what's his new code name, because he's now trying to make himself into a whole new hero. He can't be Red Robin anymore. And then you can easily write in that his whole situation with Bruce, he goes to Tim for help, like, hey, what should I do? And they have this huge talk about that he doesn't know, because, and he goes, and then they talk about some of the things that happened in the past, like, whenever Bruce felt confused or anything like that, he always goes to Tim. Sometimes he goes to Alfred, but he goes to Tim because Tim has a different aspect. He thinks his brain works differently, and Tim says the same thing. Like, that's the reason why he always goes to Bruce. Bruce has, in a way, sage advice, that no one can think of because Bruce thinks a certain way, and that's why Bruce and Tim have such a great relationship because they think almost exactly the same. All Tim has, he doesn't have the experience or the knowledge that Bruce has. And Bruce doesn't have the innocence that Tim has because did not lose. He lost his mom and dad in violence, but he always had someone there to keep him not from going over that line. Bruce went over that line. The moment he lost his parents at the age of 8, but at the age of 8, he lost his innocence. Tim didn't. Tim was already a pretty grown up man by the time his dad passed away. So, those are the things that I feel that they should have been building up with Tim, and 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 then and then bring him into Young Justice because that's where I feel that they should have been building him up and then showing to the audience that hey, we know what we're doing with Tim. This is what we're gonna do with him. We're gonna rebuild him up. We're gonna build him up from the ground floor, and then give you all these great stories, build his character up from the ground floor back up. He now knows what he has to do. He has the massive okay from Bruce. He has Bruce's blessings. Bruce doesn't like he felt that when he left, Bruce was going to be angry at him. He always felt that way. But Bruce never was angry. Bruce was just sad that he lost in a way a son. He lost a son. Not in a bad way, but in a good way, and he feels that this is what Alfred must feel like when this is what parents feel like when the birds leave the nest, and that's where Bruce tells him, and it shows a great level of parent father to son, and in some ways for Bruce and Tim's relationship, it's not truly father and son, it's big brother little brother, because he doesn't see himself trying to replace Tim's father. He sees himself as that mentor that's going to try to help keep Jack Drake's son Jack Drake's son and keep him Tim Drake. So that's how I feel about that. And I don't I'm not hating his new code name, but it's kind of like in a way it's like you know it's like a person taking they're becoming a superhero and all of a sudden they just take their last name. It doesn't feel right. It feels like it's kind of lazy. That's the way I would say it feels kind of lazy. I don't know why they would choose to call him Drake. I think that he should just call himself Red Robin. Again, that's what I'm saying is that you needed to build his character up from the ground floor because remember he died, he came back, he took down his future self, went through all this mental stress, figuring out why does his future self become so broken. He found out the reason why, and then he has the whole situation going on with Stephanie, and Stephanie Brown is pushing him to want to leave, and he doesn't want to leave, but then he realizes that he should leave and figure out his own way, and from that whole time he feels that he betrayed Bruce. That's why he can never go back to Bruce. But Bruce told him, "You never betrayed me. You're doing exactly what I trained you to do. When the time comes, you should move on. You should become your own hero." He goes, I never felt that you betrayed me. You out of all the people that he's ever let in, Tim was the one he feels that he never truly that Tim has always been consistent. Tim has always been there. Whenever the chips were down for Bruce, Tim was there. I know that they could say Damian was there, but that's his son, and he knows his son will be there for him. But Tim is not blood. Tim did not was not someone that Bruce sought for. Tim came into this life. Tim grew into this life. He became his own hero. And that's why I feel that they needed to build that relationship more with Tim and Bruce. So everybody in the superhero community and even the audience, when they're reading these comics, they can really see that Tim Drake has been completely shafted for a lot of years in the media. I'm sorry. I get mad about this and I'm trying to let it all go, but this makes me feel like they're just lazying up and they're gonna kind of write this all as as a thing. I think that if you're gonna do Young Justice, you should write Tim strong. Like he's coming here with a purpose. Like there's a purpose to why he's here. And then there's no need to rebuild him. You can actually have him strong and stable, and with a new team, he's trying to build this team. And he's trying to figure out how can he build this team. It's not the fact of that he needs to come in as Batman and just say, "Hey, I'm Batman's right hand person. I used to be a sidekick. I have all this skills and knowledge and ability to be able to lead this team." But you need to write it with a brand new set of personalities, and that's what they're doing. And that's why I say that's why I'm saying with Brian Michael Bendis when he's writing Young Justice, he's writing it with a brand new team. So okay, but it seems like they're trying to rebuild Tim Drake in the middle of building this team, and I feel that can get completely misconstrued. They should have just built Tim on his own side stories, and then introduced Young Justice while the Young Justice is doing their own thing. Brian Michael Bendis can write Young Justice, but they should have had someone else writing Tim Drake, building him back up, strengthening the foundations of his character, and get him to a point where when they introduce Young Justice, he knows what to do with that team. He knows what to do with it, but it's a brand new team, and he doesn't want to scare them away. He doesn't want to be like Batman. He wants to be his own character, and that's where I feel that's where you now can write his character a certain way and keep it consistent, because the one thing that makes Tim different than all the other Robins is he acts like Bruce. He's very solemn. He doesn't make a lot of jokes. He leads the team direct, and people think that, oh well, Nightwing taught him a lot of physical combat and got him mentally and physically prepared to be able to lead like Bruce did. However, the jokes and the snarkiness, that's all Nightwing. That's all Richard Grayson. Tim Drake takes things a little bit more seriously. He throws out some jokes here and there, some sarcastic humor, but he's a pretty in your face person. He's not stoic like Bruce, but the thing is that Tim, he adopted a lot of Bruce's personality, and that's what makes Richard know that Tim is the perfect Robin for him, because there's no need for them to talk. Tim knows exactly what Bruce would do in a lot of situations, because they're both that tactically sound. So I'm gonna end it there. Okay, to wrap it up, let's just wrap it up. One, I'm not disrespecting what Brian Michael Bendis is doing. I'm just concerned because it feels like it's being lazy. Two, I'm not hating the name. Again, I feel that it's lazy. Three, I really do feel that they should have built up Tim on an offset of stories for maybe like a year and a half, and then while they're doing it in parallel, while you're doing Tim's storylines, you're doing Young Justice, and then they converge. So then when we catch up to Young Justice with Tim already knows what to do. His personality's already been tested. He's already been rebuilt from the ground floor up. He just now has to work with a brand new team and get them mentally and physically prepared to take out whatever threats that they have to deal with. But that's what I believe. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that I'm right? Do you think I'm just talking out of my butt? Hey, if you like the code name, why? Like I said, I'm pretty much on the fence with it. I'm not for it or against it. I just want to see more with it, but the name Drake to me feels like it is lazy. So like, comment, share, subscribe down below. What do you guys think? Let's be civil, and I really hope that you guys have a great one. All right. Oh, and hit that bell, because I will be doing a little bit more videos about this. I'm gonna keep a good close eye on this, and probably do one more video about Bruce and Tim's relationship, because I think that that's what's missing. That's what's missing. That's to me is what's missing here. And I think that when they do the City of Bane and they do replace Bruce, the one thing that should happen is, where the heck is Tim in all of this? That's what I'm saying, because that's one of the things I'm kind of wondering what's going on. Like, why isn't Tim in the middle of all this? I know that they're writing Tim in Young Justice and he's on his own little misadventures, but there needs to be a lot more there. So I'm gonna do a video on that and talk about that a little bit more, my personal beliefs. But hey, I mean, I'm not always right, and I do want to see more with Tim. I want to see somebody take Tim Drake and build him up to make him his own personal superhero, so he does change his future, because his future looks like it's set in stone that he will become Batman. That something is gonna happen, and Damian is not going to be Batman anymore. That they're going to have to take down Damian, because Damian is going to become ruthless, and he won't do what is necessary to take down Jonathan Kent when the time comes. And Jonathan's about to go supernova and destroy everything, and because of the whole situation with Batwoman. And what is going to detail of all this? So I think that Tim is doing everything he can to not let that future happen, but the thing is that unless it's a prophecy, unless it's a timeline prophecy, like it's a destiny major, a destiny paradox. And I mean by that is that by him knowing what's going to happen, he eventually becomes that, because he now knows it's no choice. So we have to see. But you guys have a great one. Okay, bye.